Welcome back to Your Road to Home, your guide to the people and the heart behind our community here in the Carbon Valley. I'm Kendra Badgekar with LPT Realty, here with
Maxine Carey at Vector Bank, and we are here with Brent at Reveal Glass Company.
Hi.
New to the Carbon Valley Mead area, right?
Very new, yeah, just a couple months.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today. So tell us a little bit about your adventure.
Well, I just moved here with my family at the end of May from Nashville. Lived there for 25 years. I moved there at 18 to work in the music industry. I did school there for a little while, internships, and then almost 20 years of working in the music industry. And then we just last year decided we wanted to transition out here to Colorado, change, just a lifestyle change. Love the mountains, love the outdoors, just wanted a simpler way of living. And so got family out here. That was a big part of it too. And so we made the move, and we've been loving it ever since.
So you visited to the area, so you kind of knew what you were getting into when you came?
Yeah, my dad grew up on the eastern side of the state, so we used to come out here to see grandparents as kids, and then my parents have been living out here for 10 years, so we come out here once or twice a year, and so we've kind of really gotten to know the area a lot and have fallen in love with it over the years. So.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So once you came out here, you started a brand new business. How did you land on a glass cleaning company?
Yeah, it's funny because it's so different than music. I'm still doing some music. I'm still kind of slowly transitioning out of that over the next few years. Just the music industry is changing a lot, and it just felt like it was time for a change. And I started thinking about what could I do that allowed me to still be an entrepreneur like I've always been. I've never had a boss, and the thought of like now having a boss in my 40s was just like I don't know if I can deal with that.
Yeah.
And I started thinking about what I like to do in Colorado. I love doing home improvement stuff, repairs to the house. I love, keeping things clean and tidy. It's just part of my personality. I'm very detail oriented. I like to be outside. I like to be active. And I've always loved, on my house and my neighbors' houses in Nashville, I always loved cleaning the windows. And I thought, that seems like a good thing to get into. And so I explored kind of that industry, tried to figure out, if there was a demand there, and it seemed like there really was in Colorado. It seems like the windows get, between the wind and, and the dust, things get dirty quick. So so I just started, brainstorming the last few years of my time in Nashville as to, branding, what kind of logo, what kind of name, what's my clientele look like? Am I doing residential or commercial? And just really like doing the YouTube University thing and like learning like what the brands are, the tools, the gear, the techniques, just doing stuff on my house and my parents' house and friends' houses, just kind of getting the technique down. And then, once I got out here, I felt like I was kind of ready to just dive right in. And, for the past couple of months, I've been really busy already. Considering I've just been here 2 months. I've been really blessed to have gotten, quite a few houses to work on. So I've been focusing more on residential right now, and maybe once that starts to slow down, the end of fall, maybe try to get into more of the commercial side of things where they need, bi-weekly or weekly kind of cleanings that I can kind of come in and just keep the storefronts looking really good too.
Awesome.
And then, I think the plan the next year is to kind of start to grow the business. Right now, it's just me kind of building out my core clients and then hopefully compounding that. And then, next year maybe bring on 1 or 2 people and kind of have 2 or 3 people at the home or at the business, to where we can kind of, one can maybe be doing the inside while the other's doing the outside, and get through jobs a little bit quicker. So that's kind of where I've been and where I'm at now and where I'm hoping to go next year. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So you mentioned Google University. Is that how you, what does that look like? Because you probably wanted to know what kind of business you were going to get into. You still didn't really know, right?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely felt like it was something outside where I'd be, working with my hands and so I looked into maybe the solar industry as well. But that just was going to be more of like working for probably a company and getting into that by myself. And it just seemed like maybe a little bit more than what I felt like I could handle, as far as it's like up on the roof all day and just really, I think that's a job for someone that's like 22, So just like I said, the detail oriented thing, like within the music side of things, mixing was like that. You took kind of this mess of content and you had to like organize it, sort it, and fine tune things, and at the end of the day it was like this beautiful thing, and so I feel like dirty windows are like that too, where you can see that evolution happen really, really quick, and it's just very fulfilling for me. So back to the YouTube University thing. I mean, that was like me not having a mentor and trying to figure out how do I do this. that's, in my opinion, if you're wanting to learn how to do something, that's one of the best places to do it. And you're talking like whatever, $14 a month. It's hard to beat. So
For
between
sure.
that and then using things like ChatGPT, doing a lot of just chatting with it, asking tons and tons of questions and taking notes and all that, it's something that I think if there's any skill that you want to learn, you can really dive right in and in a couple of months really start to get a pretty good grasp. And I told every time I had an intern in the music industry, I told them, look, in this industry, there's like a language that you have to learn. And once you learn that language, there's the microphone models and all the gear that you have to learn. And once you can kind of learn that, you can kind of act like you know what you're doing, And so I've just been trying to do the same thing in the window cleaning side of things and learning, all the different types of windows that you might find in a home and, all the different types of squeegees and the mops that are out there and what solution works the best and what towels are the very best. And for someone like me who's perfectionist, it's all about just a lot of testing and trying things and figuring out what works for me. So that's what I've been up to.
That's amazing. You definitely have the entrepreneurial spirit for sure.
Well,
it shines through.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I learned a lot of those things, for 20 years of being self-employed in the music industry, having to build my own website and brand myself and sales, like going out to LA and traveling out there several times a year and trying to meet with new producers and sell them on what I can offer them as a mixing engineer as well. And so a lot of that I think comes into play on the and just being a good communicator and doing what you say you're going to do, showing up on time, all those things. Music was a lot different than cleaning homes, but it still was a service-based industry. And so I think that's why I just love meeting, and it's also been great for me to just I've so quickly met so many people in this area, considering I just moved here, and then they introduced me to their neighbors and their family members, and it's like, wow, I get all these Facebook friend requests for all these people that I didn't know a couple months ago. So it's been a great way too, just to kind of get to know the community as well. So.
That's the beauty of a small town, right?
Yep.
It feels so much smaller.
It does go, it's kind of builds.
Yep.
Tell two friends and so on and so on.
Yep.
That was a marketing thing back in the 80s too, wasn't it? You guys don't remember that, probably.
I like that.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit more about how you use Google to help build your business as well too? Because I know that's a really big step for anybody out there looking to start their own business.
Yeah, I mean, for the cleaning side of things, any type of service business, Google reviews are huge. So that's something that's one of the very first things that I started was creating my Google business profile and just trying to get some images on there and just fill out every little field that I possibly could with information. You set your business hours, your service area. So once I set that up, it was just all about, once I started getting jobs coming in, it's like right when I finished those jobs and they were really happy, that's the best time to do it. Like, oh, everything looks so beautiful. Okay, that's great to hear. Later today or tomorrow, I'm going to send you a link. It's super easy. You can just 1 or 2 sentences and give me a review on what you think. If you can add some pictures to the review, even better. And that's one of the very best things that you can do to kind of help me grow this new business. And so that's something that I've been super focused on. Google also has a program that I've been kind of messing with called local service ads, which you pay per lead. I think it's around probably plus or minus $10 a lead. I guess different industries are different, but you go through a process called Google Guaranteed, which I am now, which they do a background check and they connect your reviews, and it's kind of a little bit of a process, but then they start to kind of place you at the top of, like if you type window cleaner and Firestone or whatever, then you kind of get one of the top positions and as the Google Guaranteed badge, which means if you're not happy, Google will reimburse you for the service. And so that's been a good thing to just kind of get me up on top, and then anytime someone calls or emails, then I just kind of pay for that lead. And so, if you can get, 1 or 2 or 3 or 10 or 20 leads, a month, you may be paying, even hundreds of dollars for those, but if you can convert 10 of those into jobs, then it's totally worth the money.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I've been exploring more of those kinds of techniques, not doing as much of per click kind of stuff. I like the idea of getting the leads, because I feel like once I get the leads, I can convert probably most of those by the time I show up at their house and really talk with them and get to know them. And it just seems like a more organic way to kind of get those jobs.
And taking the time to get that dialed in, all the fields filled in your Google and get yourself certified. It seems tedious in the beginning. You're like, I'm doing all this stuff and I'm not getting business. But it's kind of a, once it's done, it's creating business for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I just set, any day that I'm not cleaning or working on music, I just set aside a day to where I'll just go to a coffee shop all day and I'll kind of have a to-do list, like make these updates to the website, start to work on this social media stuff, post to these groups, try and think of new promotions that maybe I can run. Do I need to get, door hangers? If so, like I need to start designing the, so it's a lot of graphic design, a lot of marketing, and just a lot of just getting on your laptop and diving in, with a couple cups of coffee, and I think starting off, I've kind of feel like I've gotten through that learning phase, and I know enough to be dangerous, as they say, and now it's just phase 2 is really just like working on the marketing and trying to then just bring in more and more clients and do great work and hope that just, like I said, that starts to compound where, twice a year they're calling me, but then they're also telling 2 of their neighbors, and then they're doing the same thing, and then it just, I think we'll, over the next few years, start to go pretty quick. So
that's awesome. I love that. Yep. I love that.
So, what was I going to ask you? Oh, so you're very detailed in your marketing, and you have the artistic hand. Mm-hmm. So, would you say with somebody who doesn't have that creativity, would you say you should go and pay for that and have that organized in your business?
I think so, but you can do a lot for very little these days.
Okay.
2 things that I would, if you don't feel like you are very good at marketing, branding, I think you can, for $15 a month, you can have someone with a PhD in marketing that you can all day long ask questions to and get some of the greatest answers, and that's ChatGPT. You can pay for, or it could be Gemini or Grok or any of those chat bots, but get one where you pay for it and you can get kind of more unlimited usage. Yeah. Yep. For ChatGPT, I use that advanced voice mode. I think you get like an hour and a half a day where you can just turn it on and talk to it just like a human, and it knows everything. It's like, well, I want to create a promotion that does this for me, and it's like, well, here's 5 ideas, here's the copy for it. Here, use these types of images. I mean, anything you can think of, or I want to create an ad. What ad does the best? And it gives me So I think that's a great. You can almost think of it as an employee that you pay $15 a month, and they're way smarter than you and will just work all day for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I think that's one thing that's really helpful. And then also, if you're wanting to get a human involved, maybe with some graphic design. I mean, my logo was actually designed by ChatGPT.
Oh wow!
Really?
I just told it. Even coming up with the name of the company, brainstorming, like thinking of words, and then the name Reveal came to me, and then it kind of came up with the idea of the whole like glass code type thing, just getting out of that window cleaning type of thing that just feels generic and trying to come up with something that's a little bit more premium, I guess. So that's kind of what I want it to be known as. And so it was really, it kind of steered me in all these different directions. And for me, like being someone who's just unsure about things at times, having something that's really smart, just go, no, this is good, trust me. I need to like sign off on things, or I'll spend too much time overthinking things. So
very cool.
Yeah, something like Fiverr.com is also a really great, I was kind of going to talk about that with the human touch, where you can pay maybe even just $10 or $20 for someone to kind of create a logo if you want to. You're not sure what you want, and you want to actually, you can send them some examples. I mean, you could do that with ChatGPT. Like, I like these 3 logos, attach those, spit out something that feels like Colorado, and it'll, give you some examples there. And you can kind of revise it until it's something that you like, and then you can spit out the file, and then, that's how I made my business cards, was I took the logo, put it on just uploaded it to a website and put in the information. And so you can really, like, there's a lot of ways to I guess these are all like ways to save money when you're first starting a business, I guess. And
I love that, yeah.
It's really good for people to know. Obviously, social media is free. So I think, getting a Nextdoor for me was a big deal, getting that set up and getting a Facebook going and all that too. Of course, building the website. That was very cheap. You can use WordPress, which is free. And then I just, there's like a $50 WordPress template that I buy, so as long as you know what to do, you can, it takes a little bit of time out of your schedule, but you can save a lot of money, and for just maybe even a few $100s, you can really get a business like up and running pretty quick.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Very cool. I'm like just in awe of
everything. I know you are always the entrepreneur, and
I feel
what
like
are they
we need
doing?
to start a class on starting a business.
The guerrilla guerrilla entrepreneurship or something like that. Some way to do it, cheap and dirty. But that, I've just asked a lot of questions over the years.
Well, you got your shirts done. So you've done a lot of things that probably come later for people, but you've done them all up front.
Yeah.
And, I don't think I've seen you out in the community without your shirt on. So.
Well, yeah,
you're either doing laundry every night or you got a couple.
Yeah, I found a way to do that cheaply too. Obviously, the logo had already been made, and so I just had that PNG and JPEG file that was made in ChatGPT. And then, I just found like on Amazon people who do like kind of one-off shirts, for 20-some bucks a polo, and it just seems like a really cheap way to, once again, to advertise what you do.
So when you're in the coffee shop doing your computer day, are you wearing your reveal
I'm
shirt?
not. No, I'm
incognito?
wearing the hat though. I've got a couple hats too. So usually I'm wearing the hat if I don't. The shirt's usually for if I'm going to do a quote or a cleaning or something
a podcast.
like this. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But it's not something that I typically wear every day. But I do think that it also adds a little bit of professionalism when I show up to the house with my tools, with my logo on my hat and my shirt. It just feels like, okay, this is a serious person, not just someone that's in sweats and just doesn't have it all put together. So a lot of my clients are they want things done right. If someone pays to have their windows cleaned, they're usually particular about things, and I want to come across like I'm not gonna make a big mess inside your house and spill a bunch of soapy water all over your new couch and all that. So I think just being put together puts them at ease at times too, a little bit.
Totally, I definitely agree with that.
What's the timeline on something like I don't even know what's the average house, 2,500 square feet?
Yeah.
So if somebody's thinking about doing it and is like, I only want to be home an hour, only want to have them in, what's the timeline for someone? You can probably leave someone outside, but how long inside?
Yeah, I think that's the goal for me, like getting that second person to come on next spring. I think right now it's more about just building out the business and starting to just grow it. But so on an average home, like. If you're talking 2,500 square feet, I can probably do the outside in 1 to 2 hours, and then kind of the same on the inside. Whereas if you had 2 people doing it, you could do it in half that time, in no more than a couple hours. You could be done with all the inside and outside. It obviously depends on how many panes of glass.
Yeah.
Which is how I price things.
Which you do screens too, right?
Yeah. So if they want the screens, scrubbed and rinsed and dried and all the tracks cleaned out, all that stuff just starts to take time. It's not. I tell people I don't clean just the glass, I clean the entire window. So I approach the window and I don't just start like cleaning the glass right away. It's actually like getting a brush and getting any cobwebs, any dead bugs, any gunk, just off. And then I'll wipe the frames with like a soapy microfiber. And then I haven't even started cleaning the window yet. So it's all about getting kind of the surrounding area looking nice too. Because for me, it's like, I don't want a bunch of like spider webs on the frame of the window but clean glass. It just doesn't make sense to me. It's like, if you're there, go ahead and just go all the way. And so I will, not only after cleaning the frame, but then I'll start to clean the glass. And if it hasn't been cleaned in a long time, then I'll take like an abrasive pad, which gets even more of that kind of gunk off. And then you got to squeegee it and detail it and wipe any wet, seals off and all that. So it takes a little bit more time, but that's the way I take. I guess what I'm saying is I can maybe take a little bit longer than some people because a lot of people are in that like just knock them out, be done kind of mentality. And for me, I'm too OCD for that, And so I'm hoping that gives me an edge, for the people who want someone like that.
Does it change if someone has their windows tinted?
It does. You just have to be more careful. If it's tinted, you don't want to use anything like a scraper or a razor or anything that would, scratch that tint, So it's okay if you just use a soft, like mop is what we call it, or an applicator, and then squeegee it. It's okay. Yeah.
All right. And then your service area you go out a little bit beyond the Carbon Valley, right?
Yeah, for sure. You do a lot in Longmont, Berthoud, Loveland. So kind of like we're talking west, like Longmont, Lyons, Berthoud, Loveland, maybe the south end of Fort Collins. And then, a little bit, south of Longmont and 25. Obviously, I'm still learning the geography, and then both sides of 25, and that's kind of, it's like a 20 miles in any direction of kind of Mead where I'm currently based out of right now. So I'm kind of jumping around a lot.
Awesome. Well, Brent, we can tell that you're pretty detail-oriented, so I'd love for you to come clean my windows.
I'd be happy to.
I'm the Windex person, dude.
I'm
and I was like,
weird...
dude, I made it worse.
Most people hate doing it, and you're in Colorado. You've got a lot of things you'd rather be doing. You know, paddleboarding, RVing. You don't want to be out on a ladder when it's 90 degrees. And I'm just a weird person. I enjoy doing it. So, yeah.
That's not weird. That's not weird.
That's not weird. We're happy that you enjoy doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess we need people to do all the jobs.
Yeah, we do, because sometimes we don't want to do them ourselves. So I'm happy that you're here, and thanks for joining us today on your road to home. We wish you much success.
Thank you so much.
And if you are someone in need of window washing and your person is busy, I think Brent has some availability, so give him a call. We'll leave his details below, right?
Yep.
And thank you again for joining us today. Hope you guys are loving where you live. Thank you again. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.